I don't have the bass all the way up, so all right, this is my favorite part of the song, so let me turn it up now. Whoa. What's up? What's up? It's Adam. I hope everyone is well. Today I'm going to be reviewing a product that brought back some major memories. And I was really intrigued to get these and I thought it was hype, but after having used them, wow. I mean, it's a whole different experience from most headphones. And what we're going to review today is the Skullcandy Crusher Evo. Let's go over some of the features on the box and really see what these are all about. The Skullcandy Crusher Evo, the most impressive thing is they have up to 40 hours of battery life. You can find your headphones with tile. They have personal sound by AudioDo, I hope I pronounced that right. The adjustable sensory bass, if you haven't already been able to tell, is absolutely insane. It says it only takes about 3 minutes to do the AudioDo test, and that's really about it. There's no other major features or anything with this. I don't know about y'all, but man, I haven't experienced anything like that since I had a car with a subwoofer in it. If anybody has ever had a car with a subwoofer, you know when it comes to jamming out with hip hop and just wanting to feel your music, which is a huge part of hip hop and any music that has bass in it. That's what these reminded me of. I feel like I took my car in the past that had a subwoofer in it and a nice sound system. Not saying the car I do now has a decent sound system, but not compared to when I actually customize everything. You're basically putting that on your head. That's a funny way to put it, but that's just the way it feels. All right, quick edit before I forget. How you actually use the function of the headset is you hold this for 3 seconds to power it on, you hold it for 5 to pair, and this, of course, is the slider to adjust your bass. This is volume up, volume down. This is play pause, as well as holding this 3 seconds is track forward, 3 seconds down here is track back. Hold this for 2 to access Siri, answer and end a call with this as well. So those are the basics of the control. It has USB-C, I love that. The headphone jack, of course. And when it comes to the microphone here, we're gonna actually give that a test and see how good it is. So let's get into it. All right, so here we are testing the microphone. There's no side tone or anything, but I can hear myself at least at a decent amount. So test 1, 2, 3. This is just in a quiet room. All right, so now I have ambient noise going on in the background, simulating a coffee shop. So test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Again, this is simulating a coffee shop with ambient noise playing in the background on my computer. Now, if it wasn't obvious already, my main intrigue with getting these was that bass. And I gotta say, I don't know how they do it without, when it comes to the sound, I don't know how they do it without really messing up the music at the same time. It's not that the bass in the headphones increase, it's they actually have technology in these to make you just feel bass, if that makes sense. Feel that vibration of the music. And touching more on the sound, I will say with the mids or the highs, or really, if I was listening to bands like A Perfect Circle or, Jason Mraz, or, rock songs or anything like that, the clarity is definitely there, but I don't get frequencies like I would with maybe Bose, or even JBL is a little bit better, but I think it's just because this is my first pair of Skull Candies I really reviewed, and really haven't. The last pair of Skull Candies I had, I went to a Mars Volta concert, and that was like 2008 or something like that, and they were throwing out headphones, and I ended up catching one, and it was like your most basic pair of Skull Candies. So this is a nice refresher on my impression of the brand. So the music quality is more than good enough. I don't really have any complaints. I mean, they're not the best I've ever heard with pure clarity to where I'm listening to something, I'm like, oh wow, I haven't heard that before or anything. But they beyond get the job done, but I don't, that's not what these are for. These aren't for audiophiles or anything. These are for those that want just really great entertainment with a whole different experience with using headphones. I will touch on the design of these and overall fit and build quality. It doesn't matter if I stretch them out really far or what I've done with them. I've worked out in them, I've used them for leisurely, just walking around. I've gone on walks outside with them. And because they're not noise canceling or anything like that, I didn't really worry about ambient noise. Ambient noise does come in, but it's not that strong. I mean, these are over the ear, headphones, and the clamp is good enough to where it isolates noise. But just a quick reference, it's not going to be the best at isolating your surroundings. And I love the build quality. I mean, when it comes to the case that it comes with, and also just the way it feels on the top of the headband, the little labeling they have with the branding And the buttons, the ear cups, just how the headphones actually swivel either direction, how far it stretches out. I mean, I have a big head, and I don't think any over-the-ear headphones look good on me. I think there's too much space between the top of my head and the side of my ear, you know? Unlike some people with small heads, you know, all headphones look cool and fit perfect on them. But that's besides the point. It's really about how it feels, and how it feels is great. I don't have any complaints about comfort. But on a second note, I will say when it does come to working out with them, I did have to adjust them a little bit because they don't have the strongest clamping force. But that's good and bad. I guess the only bad is if you're doing a lot of sit-ups, or maybe you do CrossFit or something like that. If you're expecting to be horizontal and vertical in your workouts a lot, getting up and, you know, being on your back doing sit-ups and things like that, you will have to adjust it quite frequently. And as a side note, how do they feel with glasses? Well, with glasses, there's a little bit of a pinch, but it's not the most discomforting thing. They're not squeezing my head, and after about a couple of hours is when I usually get ear fatigue enough to want to take them off to give me a break. And that brings me to the actual app usage. I'll just put these on my head real quick. See, and even when they're on your neck or anything, I mean, they look cool. They're just, I mean, you can tell they're meant for, you know, hip hop heads and whatnot. But when it comes to using that app, I just feel like they should have included an equalizer, and that was my biggest disappointment. Although they're using AudioDo to actually personalize your sound, that I noticed a major difference. Nothing more than I could have got with Soundcore with their little app, where they actually test how you hear and what you can hear with the frequencies to give you the best experience possible. In my opinion, because I didn't really notice that big of a difference, I would say I would have preferred an equalizer or sound adjustments like that other than the AudioDo, but I don't know, that's just me. And on top of that, I also would have preferred there to be sensors on these to actually be able to detect when you have them on or off, or some kind of way like Sony has to where you put your hand on it and it opens up your surroundings, or to have that on it, period. But for some reason with these headphone companies, they have an issue with ANC headphones. That's where you get all the features for some reason. I mean, most of the time, it's only when headphones have those mics that you can actually use it. But the interesting thing is, there's a microphone for phone calls on this pair of headphones. So I'm just like, there's got to be a way to install another mic just for that feature. But I don't know. I mean, it's really up to you. In my opinion, I would prefer those sensors, probably because I'm a little bit spoiled. But if you're totally fine having them on and just lifting an ear cup or just moving it or taking them off completely, it's not going to pause your music. But hey, it is what it is. All right, so the final verdict on these. What do I think about them at the end of the day? Well, they retail for $199, and I think if they had sensors in them, they'd be totally worth it. That's just something that's just being a deal killer for me right now. As fun as the bass boost is with the Crusher fill and the rattling, you know, experience and this and that with that subwoofer fill, it brought back great memories. But is it overall like the best thing I've experienced? The only issue with that is you can probably cause damage to your ears after a while if you're using it too much. So it's a very short term experience that I think you should be having. I don't think you should be using that on your head all day for 2 or 3 hours straight. You know, so for me, with it minusing that, you know, if it had sensors on the headphones, I would say, yeah, it's worth $200 because it's an awesome feature and the sound quality is good enough. The fit, the comfort, design are all good enough. But I paid $149 for them. So for me, I feel like that's what they should have been. The fact that they're missing some of those key features that, especially with over-the-ear headphones, you know how many people I see walking or riding their bikes nowadays with headphones on their head? I hope they're using that ambient aware, because trust me, I used to ride my bike to work all the time or go to coffee shops all the time on my bike. And it seriously can save your life. I mean, I'm not trying to be too serious on this, but, and also that when you're having conversations with people, or you know it's really fun to use, not to go too much on a tangent, when you have ambient aware features on your headphones, it's dope to have your headphones on. And if you're in a public place, to hear other people's conversations. I'm sorry, but I just think it's fun. So for me at $149, that seems like the price it should have been, because that's what I paid, because these are on sale. At $200, I'm sorry, Skullcandy, but I'm going to have to say no, these ones are a pass. I think it's probably better to just spend the extra money to upgrade maybe to the Crusher ANC ones or whatever they're called. I'm probably going to review those next, because I bet you those are going to be the banger to get. So Anyway, that's my take on these. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.